Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I know it's the pre-lunch talk, so everybody would want to go for lunch. So I'm Jobin Joseph. I'm the co-founder and CFO of Norian Games. We were recently in news. Some of you might have known. We just closed the funding round with Nikhil Kamath being the lead investor and India's biggest um, gaming public listed company, Nazara, also coming in. So the interesting thing is, they asked me for presentation, and at gaming we don't believe in presentation and project managers because work never happens. So we are basically a group of young guys who started out being inspired from the things we saw in China, and did the wildest thing of starting a gaming studio at that time from India. And mobile and real money gaming was the big hot thing then, because Dream 11 had just done a $8 billion valuation round, and RMG was hot. And we told, we will not do RMG, we will not do mobile, which was again a big piece of the interesting conversation, but we'll do the hardcore gaming, PC console. We were the artists. We wanted to build something like a Black Myth Wukong out of uh, India. And we started out in our own comfort zone and the place we love the most, Kerala. Trivandrum was the center of the journey. So, building a global game studio from Kerala, right? So, I just want to just share a little bit of my nuggets of experience that we have gone through. Uh, it's a creative process. Gaming is in the conjunction of art, uh, a bit of deep tech because you're dealing with engines that is made by third parties, and it requires a lot of engineering. Engineering is the thing that has been misunderstood in gaming because all our parents think, game development and gaming is just like playing games. No, game development is really hard, and we learned it the hard way because it requires a lot of C++ hard codes. So we are in that stage of closed beta now of our first product, and trust me, there is like 17,000 pages of code that has gone down. So it's a mixture of engineering, the hard code, 3D animation. You have uh, a, a industry that requires a lot of expertise, mentoring, and a lot of fund requirements. Gaming is not cheap. Game development is never cheap, and a lot of misconceptions because we have a problem that we, as an industry, if a niche in the industry finds a lot of success, everybody wants a pie of the niche rather than looking at the larger thing. And everybody wants, I always tell this to my team and everybody I talk, everybody knows there's so much in gaming. Because at the end of the day, it's bigger than Hollywood, music, and everything combined. Gaming alone brings more revenue. So that way, there's a lot of misconceptions specifically in our ecosystem, the national and global ecosystem, that it's a wild bet taking into gaming. But my last 3 years of growth from a typical finance guy, from investment banking to audit accounts to coming into gaming, is that gaming is more than just some guys trying to sitting and make something out, which is digital. It's a digital product. There's a lot of peripherals and verticals to gaming. You've got great companies that are doing gaming infrastructure. There is the hardware play. There is the talent management, the esports side of it. Then there is a studio play, which we are doing currently. So building out from Kerala was an interesting thing because we didn't know anything about how to do it. We were just novices like all of us when we start out. And we had to find talent from level zero. So we wanted to bring that level of talent that we could develop a product. Now, when we were starting out, and even today, when I talk to young founders who are there, we all want to do the Bahubali at the first movie, right? Everybody wants to be the Rajamouli with their first movie, which is not possible. Rajamouli slogged for 20 years, now he's Rajamouli. So that is one thing that we all miss. Even we as founders wanted to do the GTA, the Indian GTA, or the Indian Call of Duty or the Indian PUBG. Because why? At the end of the day, We'll go talk to investors. Call of Duty is just in pre-order itself is making $4 billion before the game is releasing. GTA CEO is coming every day and saying, I don't need money. I have $9 billion in my balance sheet. I don't need a sugar daddy of a PlayStation or Xbox to tell me how to make my games. So everybody wants to do it, right? And we are like, we are a developing country, and a Korean company called Krafton is coming to India and making 400 million out of Indians by a free-to-play games. And we're like, we should do something at that scale. But we miss the fundamental point there. Everything is the result of years of work. Now, Call of Duty or GTA, when they released, was not the GTA or Call of Duty that we are seeing today. They've gone through multiple process of iteration, development. The teams have gone through. I always say in gaming, a graph is you rise, you crash, you rise again, you crash, then you stabilize. Because we start doing something, we make multiple pivots. You understand that certain ideas are not going to work, or you don't have the talent pool, you don't have the funding to do it. So that is the first thing that I talk to founders. When you're doing a studio, wherever it is, India, China, wherever, be practical in your approach. We can't do these big things in the first day, because the scale at which those guys operate is the 30 years or 25-year journey. They've got 1,000 plus engineers, 6 studios across the world, other partner studios who are developing this, and an unlimited budget, because they know they'll do 5x, 10x in pre-order itself. Before releasing, they'll get the money back. It's like similar to the big budget movies of big directors who have given hits. So the practicality is the first thing that I push forward. Like, be practical. Start first, make a small game or find a niche. Like, gaming is too big. You have got tower defense games. You have got battle royals like your PUBG, shooter, boom shooter. In shooter itself, we have multiple categories. So what we did, I think time will say if it is right, but we were able to sit down, reiterate on the game plans, where we want to target. So we found a very niche, sub-niche area and a niche. That's a dinosaur genre. It's an emerging genre. Everybody loves a dinosaur. And there are only one big AAA studio in the market, in the space. And rest all are independent studios. So that practical approach is what helped us scale to the level we are today. We have to be very practical. Because we feel like, looking at the news, investors, this guy is investing there, this person is investing, investors are sitting with a lot of money, you just go and pitch, they'll give you the check. I've had more than 250 plus rejections, emails. And there was a time where I used to sit and read every day morning, we are not interested, we will pass and all these things. But when you have a prototype, and if you truly mean what you're trying to do, there will be some great mentors that put their bets on you. And we were able to find that with Ventana Ventures. They put the first check in us when we had a solid prototype and when we had a practical product. So practicality is the fundamental pillar to building a game development studio. Not thinking about the fancy stuff, not trying to be, that guy who goes to GDC and does a talk on day one. You're not there. It's a very competitive industry. It's an industry where countries like Japan, we were there 2 months before. The footfall on an event like this, just for gaming, as Tokyo Game Show, is 1.5 lakh per day. That's the footfall. And game producers, not even the game artists or anybody, are bought in by police security because they're that big. T-shirts are getting sold out within 1 hour of these studios. So that is what. Practicality should be the core pillar in every business, but in game development, very much. Because studios are very hard for anybody to commit to. And if you're not practical, nobody will commit. And there is so much that goes to game development. We've been in development for last 2 years. And we have rose, we crashed, then we rose again. And that is the only time when people will start believing in you. The first check or the first bet is the hardest thing to get. And once you get that, still you're not all right because you need to bring continuous pipeline of talent, funds and everything. So that is the first thing. And second thing is, see, if you sit and sulk in your room or your office that I don't have fund, investors are not understanding me, I'm not getting a publisher, Indian ecosystem, nothing will happen. Sitting in Kerala, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen to you. You have to reach out. You have to just go and talk to people, take opinion. You will receive a lot of criticism. And I had one experience day before yesterday where one of the people, a friend was giving a feedback on an investment angle, just got upset. His face turned red and everything because he was talking tech. Now I'll tell you simple thing. Do you think Apple iPhone is the best mobile phone in the market tech-wise, hardware-wise? No. But it's the best designed and best sold product. They know the art of design and selling. So criticism will come, iterations will have to go through, you will have to reach out. So we raised our first round and we went into a dry period probably of 8-9 months without money. And we were juggling for resources to make payrolls. Because that will happen in startup. It's not that you will continuously keep getting checked. You will raise pre-seed from this investor, you will do seed from this investor, then I'll do Series A with Tiger Global or Sequoia, then I'll start doing secondaries. Nothing will happen of that sort. It's a very humbling journey. You think you are the OG after you raise one round, next round is more difficult. Because you'll have to show PMF now. You'll have to show growth. You'll have to show community. You'll have to, and in a pre-revenue stage, it's more difficult. Because you will have to sell the story in a very convincing way. Because one interesting thing one of the mentors told me is that once we step into a room of investors or people who are into the ecosystem of game development, we feel like we know everything, right? You are just 26, 27 years old. They have that number of years of industry experience and they're sitting there. They can call a spade, a heart within seconds. If you're bluffing, you get caught out. So it's very humbling in that way. So you have to reach out. And why Startup Mission is very close to my heart is when we were struggling, Startup Mission reached out to us. Like, we'll help you figure out. But Startup Mission is a quasi-government body. They have their own limitation, but they mentored us. They gave us a little bit of grant, which helped us survive, push the runway till we find the investor. And I told you, right, I had 250 plus email rejections that I still remember. But I kept sending the improved pitch. I started reaching out for feedback. It's that continuous process of grind. Some days you don't sleep, you sleep at 4 or 5, you wake up again at 8 o'clock because you have a meeting scheduled. And it's about keeping the team together. And I'm very proud that I was able to convince some great people to join us. We were not able to pay them salary then, and they were getting hundreds of, at least 150K USD in US. And his B1 visa didn't happen. He was here just for 6 months. And he worked for FOSA, the biggest Xbox studio. And he committed to us, didn't get paid for 6 months, still stayed together, and we were building it out. So it's always not about money. It's about building relationship, talking heart to heart, saying that I'll take care of you the moment I get something. So it's that relationships that is core to building stuff. I've got friends whom I've made along the way who have vouched for me with investors. Now, interesting thing, we always feel that products get you funding, right? Some investors analyze the product based on merits, demerits, and they make a call. Sometimes the bigger VCs won't even see your mail. Even most of the VCs, they might see it, but they get hundreds of emails, pitches a day. So you need that friend to put your word in there to get you to associate or a VP. So you make friends along the way who become very crucial for you as an individual. So this is what the journey is. So sitting down, sulking about it will never get you rolling, will never get you money. It's not about funding at the end of the day, it's about making product happen. You have to show continuous development of product. The competency you're building in the team, the engineering talent Now see, I'll tell you a simple thing. Biggest challenge in game development, the serious side, is talent. And then we don't have a legacy studio out of India that has done big. But global game studio, now you go to a Rockstar, Activision, or a I don't think Krafton, but the US studios, Santa Monica that makes God of War. There are a lot of Indians, Malayalis who are at the top of the food chain in engineering. Yeah? And currently we have the senior gameplay programmer of Santa Monica working for Norian Games, who made that wolf move. And it's there in his Git that they did a motion capture with a horse for the wolf. That is the level of resource those studios have. But it's the relationships that you build. You convince him to work for you. Even if it is 3 hours of his work is equal to maybe 40, I wouldn't say 40, but 20 hours of our sort of entry level engineers' time. Because that is the level of skill. They make things happen in blink of an eye. For them, they know the hotkeys, they know optimization, they know everything behind their head. Because I have a friend, that's what I told, Santa Monica. They quit Google. Like he got placed into Google for $200,000 as a package out of Pennsylvania, Penn University. And he quit that and went to do an internship with Santa Monica. That is a level of commitment and skill those guys have. They know they'll make it. 25 out of 100 makes it in Santa Monica program, and he made it. And so that is what. You have to reach out to people. LinkedIn is there. You've got all the social networks. You've got events like this. Talk to them. Like you talk to an investor in one expo, you might not get a break then because you might not be the right fit for them then. But as you scale and grow, you might become a fit for them. They will always remember you. Make your face out there, talk to people, interact, learn. Don't have the ego or alter ego that I know stuff. We'll never know 100%. So that is another thing that I learned. So ecosystem as a interesting thing. We have great things happening in Kerala. We've, as founders, have made it a mission, to build a community, connect our co-founders to investors and other industry partners we know. And also be very we sit every month once and have a blunt and open conversation. I sometimes tell some founders this is not going to work. And it's not because I don't believe in them, but it's just that at that scale and resource that they have, it's very hard for it to work. And I explain it to them like, you will have problems in networking probably. You'll have problems in finding the artists for this. Or you'll have problems doing mocap. Because motion capture is a emerging tech. And some games need it. So that is there. And Startup Mission, I think, is very supportive towards gaming as such. Because they do whatever they can from their side. Whether it be AWS credits, NVIDIA credits, or small grants and funding. They connect you to investors. They do everything from their power. And then there are other bodies, right? So like STPI has given us a grant. There is Epic. Epic Games USA is very active in India. They've given us a grant, Epic Mega Grant. And Epic Mega Grant is very prestigious. And it's very hard to get in Europe and US because the competition is high. But in India, because it's the emerging market, they understand the ecosystem well. They are always supportive. They try to give you something in credits or as a grant, some amount. And then there are a lot of VCs who want to help startups from places like ours. Because this is where the true stories come out. Like the Zoho nobody saw coming. The great companies come out from here. And so it's about practicality, not sulking and reaching out, making relationships, and being very honest to yourself at the end of the day. As a founder, are you improving yourself? Are you being honest to your teammates? Are you being honest to the people who have committed to you? And the moment we are not honest, I don't think it works out from that day. It's very hard to, because it's very hard to mask yourself for a long time. And I have had conversations where I've told very openly, like, this is not working. We're trying to figure it out. And they've been like, try to figure it out. Like, nobody is going to chop your head. You don't have to mask, do all these jugards just to make people feel better. We have a very honest conversation, help each other. Like we try to do it in Kerala. So couple of resources is one, the mission always is very supportive. We have a society for AVGC companies in Kerala that is called SAIC. STPA is very receptive. You've got a lot of investors who are connected to Startup Mission who will listen to you with a pitch, but you have to tick certain boxes. And then you've got the new AVGC policy, which you're very excited about. It's trying to do great things for the AVGC sector as such. And India as an ecosystem is very young in gaming. We don't have the head start of 35 years or 40 years that Japan or US has. And so it's an interesting time, right? So you are in that building phase of an ecosystem. It's always an interesting time for all of us. So that is another thing. And these are the things. So, and one more thing is that I strongly believe in this, that gaming is not defined by geographical barriers. It's a global form of entertainment. Now, the games that are played the most in India are not made in India or an Indian theme. There is, of course, a chance for an Indian theme to work out, but it's a free to play market dominated. So, from day one, if you can build for the globe, that is a thesis that I strongly believe in, it gives you a better chance to succeed in the long run. Because at the end of the day, it's the global audience that evaluate you, and it's like Indian. Even if you look at India, so I always tell this. Now you're bringing a battle royale game in Indian setting, and you're charging the same money as BGMI by Crafton. You will be benchmarked to Crafton's game, right? So the Indian element might bring you eyeballs and pre-registration, but will never convert you to revenue. It's the engineering and the gameplay and the feel that matters to it. So I strongly believe in building a globally competent product, being fundamentally sound, and having independence, at least to some extent. So one thing that we see is in the prototyping and in game development together is people finding shortcuts. You've got a lot of freelancers, right? In Fiverr, Upwork. I'll give freelance. He'll do it. I'll assemble this together. That doesn't work. You have to build it's a hard thing. You have to build your own capabilities. And that capabilities will take you the long run. Otherwise, you will not survive in the long race. Because once the product is out, it's very easy to call it. It's a good engineered product or not. And a freelancer will never do it for free, first of all. And you will not always have the money to keep the freelance pipeline going unless you're a exited founder of a big company. You'll be able to do rounds just like that because there's a credibility that comes with you. So building capabilities might take a long time. It will give you sleepless nights. It'll have a lot of conversations, back end and everything, but you need it. So that is another fundamental thing which we have tried to address over the time. And as I told you, funding is not the final end product, but funding is needed because otherwise you should be from a wealthy family and your dad has checks to write, or your cousins run a big jewelry conglomerate and you have checks to write. It is needed because you'll have to pay people. Everybody has bills to pay, right? So, but that is again, it's not like you have to do a jugaad for that. Like, you have to go through the process. You have to be investable first. Then you have to show the scale, right? So just sitting there and say, "Arey, VCs don't understand." I've heard this. They don't understand gaming. They don't understand my concept. I have a great idea that is going to be blockbuster. So they have seen all this. They listen to all this every day. Their Zoom calendars, I've seen some of them, is packed. They listen to all these things continuously like a tape recorder recording again and again. So go with substance and you'll never get hard rejections. But again, be open to criticism. I think, we have, as a southern state at the tip of India, a lot of talent, but we need a little bit of self-realization that where we are, right? It's an emerging ecosystem. This is not a Bangalore where you just have float a AI startup and you find somebody from Swiggy, Swinny or something as your co-founder and go and race around. But again, there also, second round is difficult. First round, you'll get the money. And after one or two, you will get a name printed on you. This guy just rolls checks. So you have to have substance. So that is the first thing. And second thing is the friends that you build along. That is going to take you the distance. It's not anything else. And it's the lives that you change. So me having a chance to talk here is something that I never thought of. And very happy to it. And our product is hopefully coming out in March, April. So we are aiming for the stars. So looking forward to connecting with all of you later. Thank you.